Any goal that you're going after, whether you're trying to lose weight or whether you're trying to build wealth or whether you're trying to start a ministry or whether you're trying to build a marriage or whether you're trying to open up a business, you have to have delayed gratification. If you open up a business and you start eating up all the profits and spending it as fast as you're making it, your business won't last long. You have got to open up the business and ignore the profits. If you have the strength to ignore the profits long enough, they will accrue in value and strength to the point that you can go beyond what we fall into, the abyss of looking rich. It is far better to be a thing than look a thing. But in our haste to be impressive, we will take the shortcut of looking like we have something that we do not. And when we do that, we forfeit the opportunity to actually be what we are professing, because it is expensive to require immediate gratification.
Guy specializes in happy hour, but he doesn't have a card. And now readily and quickly blames the government, blames his company, and blames policy, and blames the pay scale. When if he only knew, if he joined the 3%. Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame list they cling to. Start you a new life. You say, well, is it as simple as getting a library card and join the 3%? And the answer is, of course! Of course! That's how easy this stuff is. This is so easy. It's so simple. It's not complex. You don't need a 2,000-year-old guru. You don't need multi-track affirmation. I'm telling you, don't. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Don't let somebody sweep you into some contrary way to nature itself says, unless you labor. The miracle of the seed and the soil and the seasons and God and all the other stuff that's available, sunshine and rain, that's not available to you by affirmation. It is only available to you by labor. Let's teach our kids the simple ways to transform their health, number 1. Their economics, number 2. Their ability to communicate, number 3. Their life and treasure and lifestyle, number 4. Spirituality, number 5. And the list goes on and on. Let's not leave out any of the least of disciplines that encourage us to do the next one, to do the next one, to do the next one. First thing you know, this whole scenario for you is spinning up instead of out of control on the negative side. This is all you got to do. It's as simple as this. It's as simple as a start, committing yourself to life change. And once you start down this road, I promise you, you'll join the 10% and the 3%. In our leadership weekend we teach. Find out what poor people read and don't read it. I'm telling you, don't talk like they talk. Lend a helping hand, but don't fall into their poor philosophical scenario. Don't blame what they blame. Don't use the excuses they use. It's called the language of the poor. Switch gears, switch language, switch ideas, switch strategy. Start with the simplest of disciplines. And don't bemean any of these disciplines. The smallest of disciplines starts the process of life change. And if you'll invest in this thing called discipline, you can have whatever you wish. It's called the beginning of miracle. Now here's the last clue on discipline. Do the best you can. I've got a good question for you. Is the best you can do all you can do? And the answer is no. Strangely enough. 2, doing the push-ups. Go from 5 to 50. It's a miracle. Number 1, do what you can. Number 2, do the best you can. Here's number 3. Rest very little. Don't rest too long. Why? The weeds take the garden. Kids have got that figured out. Can't rest too long. Here's the clue. Make rest a necessity, not an objective. The objective of life is not to rest. The objective of life is to act. Think of more disciplines. Think of more ways and means in which to use your own wisdom and your own philosophy and use your own attitude, your own faith, your own courage, your own commitment, your own desires, your own excitement. Join the 5%, join the 10%, join the 3%. Guess when I went and got this little book, Richest Man in Babylon? The same day I heard about it. I went, God. Somebody says, well, Mr. Rohn, does that make you different than most other people? And the answer is yes. Somebody says, well, why is that? We don't know. We don't know. What do you know? You don't know. I don't know. None of us knows. Some do and some don't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change. From those who get in on a seminar like this, listen to a dynamic sermon, read a book, listen to some cassettes, take seriously the next conversation of a friend who wants to level with you, and do something about it. And you can walk away from the 97% and not live there anymore. Because if you don't, the next 6 years of your life will be like the last 6. Mr. Shove said to me, Mr. Rohn, 6 years now you've been working. I'm telling you, the next 6 years of your life is going to be like the last 6, unless you take advantage and start making these personal changes. I made the changes, totally revolutionized my life. So take a look at the next 5 years of your life. It's going to be like the last 5, unless you change. And if you will change, everything will change. Join the 5.
Whatever position you find yourself in today, we put ourselves there by a series of thoughts and actions. Thoughts turn into things. That's very important to know. So let's look at both sides of it. For people who think negative thoughts, it turns into negative things. And the direct opposite is true for those who think positive thoughts. It turns into positive things. That's the deal. It's as simple as that, folks. Thoughts become things. So the one glaring question for all of us always is, on a daily basis, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Because this is a fact of life. This is biblical. This is spiritual. This is written. This is philosophical. This is the law of the universe. This is just the way it is. Now, and here the cold part, folks. It don't matter if you believe me or not. It does not matter if you have never been explained this or not. And it does not matter if you think it works in your life or not. It don't matter. Listen to me. It is the way it is. It's just whatever. It's the law of the universe. You call whatever you want to call. However you got to dress this thing up, because this is all it is. So when I say that you are where we are today because we thought ourselves here, oh, you best to believe that's true. You thought yourself here. No one else. See, let me explain something. I got people around me who so badly want to take credit for it, but I don't allow it because I keep pointing to the heavens. By grace and mercy, by blessings from God, my life is because God has seen it to be so. Oh, but I got plenty of people around me who give credit for it and want you to not give credit to God and give it to them. I got that. But it's okay. It's so clear to me what my father was saying to me, man. I get it as I get older and older. People come into your life for seasons. I guess that's the same thing. You know, they season up, they gone. Well, you know, hear the way they try to hold you, though. Oh, you gonna forget where you come from? Oh, you ain't gonna keep it real no more? I don't want to go back where I come from. I don't want to keep it that real no more. It was real enough for me living in a car. I had enough of that real. No, I don't keep it real. I want to go keep it dreamy. I want to go keep it fantasizing. I want to keep it out of this world. I want to see what that's like. So no, I ain't going to forget where I come from, but you ain't going to hold me to that though. Thoughts become things. Where are the things that you want written down? What do you think about the most? How grateful are you for what all God has done? Where you at with that? If all you thinking about is your debt, if all you thinking about is what you ain't got, if all you thinking about is every time I turn around I'm sick, if all you thinking about is the things in life that you're lacking, and if thoughts become things, how much debt you think you gonna stay in? How much lacking you think you finna fill your life with? How much more stuff you finna not have? 'Cause you keep thinking about it all the time. When you gonna be grateful? When you gonna say thank you? When it's gonna come out your mouth, man, that I may not be where I wanna be, but I sure am grateful for what you've given me so far, for the things I have today, because I don't have to have these things. You know what that does? That then opens up room for more stuff to come your way to be grateful for.
The insecure person has a compulsive need for order and stability and goes to great lengths to avoid the strange and the unexpected. The healthy person also seeks order and stability, but it is not the life or death necessity that it is for the neurotic. The mature person also has an interest in the new and the mysterious.
Cannot just exist in this life. You have got to try to live. If you're waking up thinking that it's got to be more to your life than it is, man, believe that it is. Believe in your heart of hearts that it is. But to get to that life, you're going to have to jump. At one point in time, you ought to see what living's like. But the only way to see what living like, you got to jump. And here's the problem. Let me just be real with you. When you first jump, let me tell you something. Your parachute will not open right away. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you it did, but it don't. When you jump, it's not going to open right away. You're going to hit them rocks. You're going to get some skin tore off on the cliffs. You're going to get some cuts on you. You're going to be bleeding pretty bad. But eventually, the parachute has to open.
What happens is that life, like a tornado, spins us around with all of the different obligations and belief systems, ideas, demands that the world places on us. And you get lost in it. Just like you can imagine you got picked up by a tornado. Right? What I'm asking you to do is to learn how to step out of the tornado.
And as Alice Walker said, the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. People lose sight of the fact that we always get a choice. No matter what happens in your life, the one thing that you get to choose at all times is the meaning that you ascribe to it. No one can take that away.
And as you begin to discover the truth of who you are, whatever challenge that you're facing in life, and if you're living, you're facing some challenge, you'll begin to know that you're powerful and that you're a miracle maker.
Close the door to these destructive, limiting, defeating thoughts. And sometimes we believe them so long, they become a part of who we are. Imagine fear, worry, doubt, insecurity living in your house, dragging you down, stealing your joy, taking your peace. That may be the way it's been, but this is going to be a new day. It's time to do some house cleaning. You need to evict some tenants that have been living in your mind.
Would you agree that positive thinking won't let you do anything, but it will let you do everything better than negative thinking will? Positive thinking will permit you to use the qualities which you have. And when you use the qualities which you have, my friend, you can get the things in life that you really want.
People resist change because of tradition. Cambridge University professor F.M. Cornford said, "Nothing is ever done until everyone is convinced that it ought to be done, and has been convinced for so long that it is now time to do something else." Many people cling to tradition. The assumption is that if something is tradition, it must be a better way. But that's not necessarily so. Here's a riddle that shows what I mean. How many traditionalists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is 4. 1 to change it, and 3 to talk about how wonderful the old bulb was. If a tradition connects you to other people or to your personal history, it can be a good thing. If it doesn't, then it may be time to try something else. Preparation points for successful change. The keys to dealing with change successfully are having a good attitude toward it and being prepared to meet it. The following ideas can help you to do those things. 1. Change will happen whether you like it or not. It's said that a Duke of Cambridge once said, "Any change at any time for any reason is to be deplored." I feel sorry for people like him. They have a hard time dealing with reality and experience a difficult life. Change is unavoidable. The only thing certain about tomorrow is that it will be different from today. If you doubt that, consider this. My grandfather had a farm. My parents had a garden. And I've got a can opener. It's a different world than it was 20 years ago. And it will be different in another 20. But the good news is that the world changes so fast that you couldn't stay wrong all the time if you tried. 2. Without change, there can be no improvement. I am not a proponent of change for its own sake. That's often a characteristic of restlessness and can be a symptom of personal inner conflict. Honestly, change can represent both possible opportunities and potential losses. Even though all progress brings change, not all change brings progress. But as leadership expert Max Dupree observed, we cannot become what we need by remaining what we are. If you desire growth, then you must embrace change. General Douglas MacArthur stated, "Life is a lively process of becoming. If you haven't added to your interests within the past year, if you are thinking the same old thoughts, relating the same personal experiences, having the same predictable reactions, rigor mortis of the personality has set in. If you don't change the direction you are going, then you're likely to end up where you're heading. When you want something you've never had, then you have to do something you've never done. That means changing."
There is an invisible kingdom within you that is more important than the kingdom within. I see. Don't be hanging with no junk as jokers. Help you shine. The preposition's question for spending time is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed you flame. There will be that I looked left, right, and did not find a person who believed it. There always been a person beside me, feeding my flames. Look at your last 5 text messages. Are those people feeding you flames, or the people that you spend time with are going to make or break your dreams? If you cannot detach from yourself, then you cannot see yourself. And so how do you detach? That's a good drill for this is try to imagine the way other people see you and what other people are thinking of you. It definitely getting put in charge people's perceptions. If you are in jail, then you what kind of representations are they receive? Questions: how does the boss when I'm making of myself or to my boss? So the questions because how well do you represent yourself? Looking, it's like you are looking at an overgrown lawn. There are some big obvious problem out of the grace. You fix some of the big obvious problems. You notice some more detailed problem. You are said. Opposition since the fictions. Always trying to move in to take all the territory, but if you cannot to repel, move away further away. The darkness must move it. You walk into a dark room.